Have you ever noticed how the most intoxicating love feels like coming home to a place you've never been? You meet someone and suddenly the world makes sense in a way that's both thrilling and terrifying. Your heart races not from joy, but from a recognition so deep it feels like destiny calling your name. But here's what you don't realize in those euphoric moments. You're not falling in love with a person. You're falling into a psychological trap that your unconscious mind has been setting for decades. This isn't the fairy tale you've been sold. This is your wounded inner child mistaking familiar pain for profound connection. What you call chemistry is actually your nervous system recognizing the exact emotional frequency that wounded you in childhood. The very qualities that make your pulse quicken are the same ones that will systematically destroy your sense of self. You think you've found your soulmate, but you've actually found your psychological mirror, and that mirror is about to show you everything you've spent your life trying to avoid. The mechanism behind this deception is what Jung called shadow projection. Your psyche takes everything you cannot accept about yourself, your neediness, your rage, your fear of abandonment, and projects it onto another person. First, you project your light shadow. They become perfect, godlike, everything you wish you could be. This is the idealization phase, where they can do no wrong and you lose yourself in their supposed perfection. But shadows cannot remain hidden forever. As the relationship deepens, your dark shadow begins to emerge. Suddenly, their quirks become flaws, their independence becomes abandonment, their humanity becomes betrayal. You're no longer seeing them, you're seeing your own rejected parts reflected back at you. This is why toxic love feels so addictive. It's not love you're addicted to. It's the cycle of projection and withdrawal. The high comes from seeing your idealized self in them. The low comes from confronting your shadow through them. Round and round you go, mistaking this psychological chaos for passion. What makes this pattern so insidious is its unconscious nature. Jung understood that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You believe you're choosing love, but you're actually being driven by unintegrated parts of your psyche. Here's the truth that will shatter your romantic illusions. You don't love them. You love what they represent in your psychological drama. They are not your partner. They are your psychological parent, your unfinished business, your attempt to heal childhood wounds through adult relationships. This is what Nietzsche would call the slave morality of love, seeking salvation through another instead of creating your own values. Society has sold you the lie that love is about finding your other half. This is psychological poison. Wholeness cannot be found in another person. It can only be developed within yourself. When you seek completion through relationship, you create what Jung called an unconscious assumption of guilt. You make the other person responsible for your happiness, your worth, your very existence. The uncomfortable reality is that toxic love serves a function. It keeps you from having to face yourself. As long as you're focused on changing them, saving them, or getting them to love you properly, you don't have to do the terrifying work of becoming whole on your own. This is the slave's escape from the master's responsibility, to avoid self-mastery by making another person your master. Every moment you spend in toxic love is energy stolen from your authentic development. You become what I call an emotional slave. Your entire sense of worth depends on their moods, their attention, their validation. When they're happy, you exist. When they withdraw, you disappear. This is not love. This is psychological vampirism disguised as romance. The cost is your very soul. You trade your instincts for their approval. You silence your truth to avoid their anger. You shrink your world to fit their limitations. Each compromise feels small, but collectively they constitute the murder of your authentic self. What are you becoming in the name of love? A ghost of who you once were, desperately trying to earn affection from someone who is fundamentally incapable of seeing you. This energy drain is not accidental, it's the entire point. Toxic love operates on intermittent reinforcement, the same principle that makes gambling addictive. They give you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to feel secure. Your nervous system becomes addicted to the chaos, mistaking the adrenaline rush of uncertainty for the euphoria of love. The tragic irony is that the more energy you pour into this dynamic, the less available you become for genuine connection. You're so busy managing their emotions that you lose touch with your own. When others try to warn you about this person, watch your reaction carefully. Your defensiveness reveals everything. You don't understand our connection, you say. They're different with me, you insist. But what you're really saying is, don't threaten the fantasy that's keeping me from facing my own wounds. The people who trigger your defensiveness are showing you something your conscious mind refuses to see. Their concern isn't about your partner, it's about what this relationship is doing to you. They see your light dimming, your boundaries dissolving, your authentic self disappearing piece by piece. But you interpret their love as jealousy, their wisdom as ignorance. This is projection in reverse. Instead of projecting your shadow onto your partner, you're now projecting your clarity onto others. Anyone who questions your relationship becomes the enemy because they represent the part of you that knows the truth. They become the voice of your abandoned self, crying out from the psychological wilderness where you've banished it. Notice how this person's other relationships operate. Do they have deep, lasting friendships? Do people seek them out for wisdom and support? Or is there a pattern of dramatic endings, burned bridges, and people who just couldn't handle their intensity? Their relationship history is a psychological resume. Pay attention to what it tells you. The path to freedom begins with a simple recognition. You are not here to complete another person, and they are not here to complete you. This is what Nietzsche called the will to power. Not power over others, but power over your own psychological destiny. True love is not the merging of two wounded halves, but the meeting of two whole beings who choose to share their completeness. Jung's concept of individuation offers the map out of this maze. You must begin the work of shadow integration, owning the parts of yourself you've projected onto others. That desperate neediness you see in them, it's yours. That capacity for cruelty that shocks you, it lives in you too. That fear of abandonment that drives their behavior, it's the same fear that keeps you trapped in this dynamic. This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. Shadow work means embracing your darkness not to indulge it, but to transform it into conscious choice. When you own your shadow, you stop needing others to carry it for you. When you heal your wounds, you stop seeking wounded people to wound with. The ultimate irony is that only when you no longer need their love will you be capable of truly loving them, or anyone else. This is the paradox of authentic relationship. It can only exist between people who don't need it to survive. So I ask you now, with the full weight of philosophical truth behind these words, are you ready to love someone, or are you still trying to heal someone? Are you seeking a partner, or are you seeking a psychological parent to finally give you what your childhood could not? Are you willing to face the terrifying possibility that your greatest love story might actually be your greatest obstacle to ever experiencing real love? The choice before you is not between this person and another person. The choice is between remaining unconscious and becoming awake, between staying a psychological child and becoming a psychological adult, between seeking salvation through another and creating your own redemption. Your answer to this question will determine not just the fate of this relationship, but the trajectory of your entire emotional life. Because until you choose consciousness over comfort, truth over fantasy, individuation over codependence, you will continue to call your wounds love and wonder why you never feel truly seen.